Zane's expression was frosty as he stood over Freya's limp body. Looking at the monstrous-looking figure before him, a stream of thoughts passed through his mind.
How could I have ever loved her? I can't believe I almost allowed her to drag me down.
The hatred he felt for her was profound, and he frowned as he reached out his hand. He put his hand gently on top of her head, but before he could do anything, he was interrupted by a roaring voice.
Stop!
Bram cried as he rushed toward the ring.
If she dies, I will ruin you forever. You'll suffer a fate worse than death.
He tried desperately to get into the ring with Freya, but the barrier kept him away. Zane raised an eyebrow at him.
You'll ruin me forever?
He repeated, his voice dripping with sarcasm.
That's funny. Didn't you already try that? Or was that just meant to be temporary?
He snorted with derision.
Was the pain I suffered not enough for you? Did I not already get what you thought I deserved? As a matter of fact, I think it's my turn to ruin you, and I've been looking forward to this moment.
The more he spoke, the more his emotions surged. A searing heat surged through his body, and then the silhouette of a dragon suddenly appeared over his shoulder. An ear-splitting roar rattled the entire arena, paralyzing the spectators with terror. The shadow of the dragon was hazy, but its enormous mouth was impossible to miss. Each of its fangs shimmered in the light. That menacing specter instilled fear in every onlooker, rendering them speechless in dread. As the dragon shadow came out from behind Zane, it loomed over Freya and began to lick up the green dust from her damaged spirit body. Then once it was done, it sucked up the remaining green light surrounding her body.
I don't believe this,
Prince Jorah exclaimed as he anxiously jumped up from his seat. Veins bulged in his neck and his eyes darkened with rage.
Zane has awakened a high-grade spirit body. Just what the hell is that thing? No wonder his strength has returned so quickly, but how could he have achieved this?
Everyone in the crowd was quietly discussing the same thing. Then as the dragons swallowed the last of Freya's green snake, they returned their attention to the ring.
No, I'm sorry, Zane. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. Let me make it up to you, and then we can be together again.
Zane looked at her and felt nothing but contempt. Undeterred, Freya continued to plead with him.
We can put this all in the past and pretend like it never happened.
She struggled, her voice getting weaker.
We could be so good together. I'm sorry I took you for granted.
She reached out and grabbed Zane's leg. Tears rolled down her blood-smeared face, but it was too late for apologies.
Pretend like it never happened?
Zane repeated, backing out of her grip.
Do you think I would be stupid enough to let you scheme against me again? It all ends today. A cold, backstabbing viper like you doesn't deserve mercy.
Just as he finished speaking, Freya's eyes clouded over, and she lost consciousness. Her body shook as her brain shut down. As Bram looked at her, he knew that she would never be the same again. She would never recover enough to fight again, much less cultivate. His face was ashen as he watched her light dim, and then he turned to Zane with a look of wrath. He took out a plain white handkerchief embroidered with green writing and held it up.
Since you've robbed me of my love, I'll strip you of yours.
He hadn't seen her since he had returned from the dragon prison, but he hadn't been worried. He had never suspected that anyone would go after her, and the thought of her being in danger made his blood boil. He yelled, glaring at Bram.
If you so much as touch a hair on Amara's head, I'll bury you and the whole Martell family.
You think you can take on the entire Martell family?
He asked, chuckling at the mere idea of it.
That's big talk for someone who's already been beaten by just one Martell. Forget about Amara's inevitable death and worry about your own. You're not leaving this arena alive, as I'm going to kill you in front of all these people. Then everyone in the whole county will know that the Martell family has only one heir.
The spectators all looked at each other in concern, but no one dared to speak, as no matter which man won, they couldn't afford to offend him. Watching from above, Prince Jorah smiled. Then he stood up to give the referee instructions.
I think we may as well make it official. Announce the fight.
The referee had no choice. Although he didn't want to get involved in a personal dispute, He had to follow the prince's orders. He removed the barrier, allowing Bram to enter the ring, and then he quickly replaced it once Bram was inside. With the frightening strength that Zane had displayed earlier, it was likely the audience would get hurt without a barrier between them and the two men. Although Bram seemed determined to avenge Freya, Zane knew that wasn't the real reason he wanted to kill him. Bram simply wanted to make sure that no one else would ever practice the heavenly sword technique. Zane didn't know why it was such a big deal, but Bram was clearly willing to kill for it. When Bram stepped into the ring, he no longer wore the expression of a crazed, grieving lover. He almost seemed amused, and he was full of confidence.
If you back out now and leave town forever, I'll let Amara go. Or else, you're going to die right here, and Amara will follow you to hell soon. You know you don't stand a chance, so do the smart thing.
Zane laughed out loud and shook his head. Although Bram's cultivation was at the 8th stage of body tempering, Zane knew it wouldn't take much to defeat him. He pulled out his sword and pointed it at Bram, poking the tip of the blade into his chest.
Not a chance. You underestimate me, and you'll regret it. I have one question, though. Why are you so determined to be the only one who knows how to cultivate the heavenly sword technique? What's so special about it?
Wouldn't you like to know? But the only way you'll find out is in the afterlife.
With that, he spun away from Zane and drew his own sword. Then he swung it over his head and charged at Zane with all his might, but Zane quickly blocked him. The two swords collided as they both used the basic moves of the heavenly sword technique. Light and dark intertwined, and sparks flew everywhere. Strike after strike, they blocked each other's blows, and it seemed that they possessed equal skill. Everyone began to wonder if it would end in a draw, as neither of them appeared able to defeat the other. Bram then decided to change things up and use the art of sword drawing, but Zane was so familiar with the technique that he quickly matched him with the same skill. It was immediately obvious that Zane possessed a deeper understanding of the technique when Bram's sword was knocked from his hand. It shattered into fragments and scattered across the floor, while Zane slashed his sword across Bram's body. Bram's clothes were torn apart, revealing the armor hidden underneath, which emitted a dark blue glow. Zane's strike had left a faint white shadow of a crack across it. Zane was shocked when he realized that the armor was a genuine energy artifact. When Bram saw his reaction, he laughed. Then he put his hands on his hips and looked down at the armor.
Oh, I guess I forgot to mention that I'm wearing a genuine energy artifact. What are you going to do now? Unless you have the strength to kill a practitioner at the first stage of the foundation level, you're screwed.
Genuine energy artifacts were items made by special craftsmen who engraved unique symbols on them to increase their power. They were so powerful that they were thought of as divine. It was rumored that some extremely powerful genuine energy artifacts could defy the laws of physics. Even defensive artifacts, like the armor Bram was wearing, could not easily be broken, so it appeared that Bram was invincible. But Zane wasn't going to let that deter him. He charged at Bram with full force and tried the art of sword drawing again. Bram didn't bother to dodge the strike. He was propelled back several steps, and the surrounding barrier shook violently with the force of the blow, but no damage was done. However, Bram became a little nervous when he saw that the glow surrounding his genuine energy artifact was slightly dimmer than before.
Can't wait for more? Catch the next episode tomorrow. And if you are ready to binge the whole series, download our app now. Tap the link in our bio to start your journey.